Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Net Verifiers. In today's video, we'll be learning how to find the candidate keys using closure method. So in the last video, we saw normal forms, candidate keys, prime attributes and non-prime attributes. So in today's video, we'll be learning how to find the candidate keys if it is not mentioned in the question using closure method. So let's get started. So since we are preparing for UGC NET paper 2, in most of the questions that come from normalization, candidate keys won't be mentioned in the question. At that time, we will have to find. So now let's see how to find the candidate key using closure method. So this is the first example that I have considered where I have a relation R which contains the attributes A, B, C, and D. And these are called the functional dependencies that are present. So this is the first functional dependency, second functional dependency, and third functional dependency. What are these functional dependencies? Functional dependencies are nothing but which tells the relationship between the attributes. To know the relationship between the attributes, we use the functional dependencies. The first functional dependency says like this: A is determining B, or we can tell that B is determined by A. Second functional dependency, B is determining C, or C is determined by A. Third functional dependency, C is determining D, or we can tell that D is determined by C. So these are the relations that are present between these attributes. By using these functional dependencies, we will have to find the candidate keys, prime attributes and non-prime attributes. Now let's get started. What is this closure method? So closure method says like this: from a particular attribute, if we are able to find all other attributes, then we can tell that that attribute is a candidate key. Now let's see how to find that. So here I'll be considering the first attribute and I'll use the closure method. So to find the closure method, I'll represent like this A plus. So plus represents the closure method. Since the functional dependencies has a rule, they follow the reflexive rule. What is reflexive rule? A particular attribute can be determined by the same attribute. That is reflexive rule. Since it obeys the reflexive rule, A can be determined by using A. So in A's closure, I will represent A. Now I'll go to functional dependencies and check whether can A determine any other attributes. Here if we see A is determining B. So in A's closure, I will write B. Now I will have to go to functional dependencies and check whether this B is determining any other attribute. Yes, B is determining C. So I'll be writing C in my list. Now I have to check whether this C is determining any other attribute in the list. So C is determining D. I have to write D in my list. So now I will check, is there any attributes that are present in relation other than A, B, C, and D? No, I have only 4 attributes. All 4 attributes has been determined. So my candidate key list will contain A as its candidate key. Now I'll check next attribute B. So I will find using closure method B plus. So since it obeys the reflexive rule, I will write B in my list. Now I'll go check whether this B is determining any other attribute in the list. Since B is determining C, I will write C in my list. Now I have to check whether C is determining any other attribute in the list. Yes, C is determining D. I will write D in my list. Now I have to check whether D is determining any other attribute in the list. I don't have any functional dependency for D which is determining another attribute. So I will have to stop here. Now I'll check whether I have got all the attributes that are there in the relation. I have got C, I have got B, I have got D. So in the relation, I have an extra attribute A which is not there in the list. So in my candidate key list, B will not be present. So B is not my candidate key list. Next, I'll go check C. I have to find C's closure. I'll represent using C plus. Since it obeys the reflexive rule, I will write C in my list. I'll go check in FDs whether C is determining any other attribute. Yes, C is determining D. I will be writing D in my list. Now I have to check whether D is determining any other attribute. No, I don't have any FD that is determining any other attribute. So I will be stopping at this point. So I have got only CD. I have not got AB, which are not determined here by C. So my candidate key list will not contain C. Now I'll go check with D. I have to find D plus. So since it obeys the reflexive rule, I will be writing D in my list. So now I have to go to FDs and check whether D is finding any other attributes. Here I don't have any FD for D which is determining by any other attribute. So I have to stop at this point. So I have not got the remaining attributes A, B, C here. I have got only D. So D will not be present in my candidate key list. So I have only one candidate key here, that is A. Next, I have to find the prime attributes. What is prime attributes? Prime attributes are nothing but the attributes that are helping to form the candidate key will be my prime attributes. Here, how many attributes that are helping to form my candidate key? Only one attribute that is helping, that is A. So my prime attribute will be A. Any other attribute that is helping to form the candidate key? No, I have only one attribute A that I will be representing in prime attributes. Next, I have to find the non-prime attributes. What is the definition for non-prime attributes is the attributes that are not helping to form the candidate key will be my non-prime attributes. Here, only A is helping to form the candidate key. So remaining attributes that are there will not help to form the candidate key. So what are the remaining attributes that I have? C, D, and E. So these three attributes that I have are not helping to form the candidate keys. So these three attributes will be my non-prime attributes. So my non-prime attributes list contains B, C, D. So these are the three attributes that I have in the non-prime attributes list. So I hope so you understood how to find the candidate key using the closure method. Let us take a second example and see. Here if we see the candidate key is A, prime attribute is A, and non-prime attributes are B, C, and D. So now let's get started with the second example. So this is a second example that I have considered, where I have a relation which contains the attributes A, B, C, D, and E. So it contains the functional dependencies, the first one, the second functional dependency, third functional dependency, and fourth functional dependencies. Here we have to find the candidate keys, we have to find the prime attributes, and we have to find the non-prime attributes. So the first functional dependency here, if we see A is determining B, second functional dependency BC together it is determining D, third functional dependency E is determining C, and D is determining A. Now let's find the candidate key using the closure method. So first, before finding the candidate keys, there is another trick that we have to follow while finding this candidate key using closure method. What we have to do is we'll go check the RHS of every functional dependencies and check whether any attribute that is missing that is present in a relation. Here if we see B is present in the RHS of first functional dependency, I'll mark here, check here. So B is present. Next I'll go check for the second functional dependency, D is present. Third functional dependency, RHS, I'm checking only RHS, C is present. Fourth functional dependency, A is present. So E is missing in the RHS. So what is the meaning of this one is that, so every candidate key that is there, E will be present. So E is a compulsion for every candidate key. Whichever the attribute that is not present in RHS of all functional dependency, that attribute will be a compulsion for my candidate key. A candidate key will be containing E as a part. Along with E, now if I take only E as my candidate key and check the E's closure, from E I can get E since it is reflex C, and from C I can get from E I'll get C. I don't have any other functional dependencies for C to find the remaining attributes, so I have to stop at this point. What is this means that E alone cannot determine all other attributes. What does this mean is that, so along with E, I had to add something so that I can determine all the attributes to find the candidate key. Alone A, I cannot determine all the attributes because E is missing in the right hand side. This is the trick that we can follow in a net examination to find the candidate key. So if you start at the beginning, if you start like this, take A plus A closure, definitely you cannot find all the attributes. I'll check with BC closure together, I cannot find all the attributes. I'll check with E, I cannot find. I'll check with D, I cannot find. So it is a waste of time. So the trick that I can follow is I'll go check the RHS Which attribute is not there, that attribute I will take as my candidate key. Along with that, I will add the remaining attributes and then try to form whether I'm able to get all the attributes. I'll check like that, and so we can save the time. That is why we have. That is why we can use this trick. Now what I will do along with this key, I will add an extra attribute and check whether I'm able to get the remaining attributes. So now I'll consider the first attribute A and I will find the closure of AE plus together. If I take a single attribute and find, definitely you cannot get, you can try it once, you cannot get the remaining attributes. If you find for all the attributes that are present here, you cannot find, because this E is not present in any of the RHS. If you try, you won't get. That is why I'm telling. So you follow this trick, check whether which attribute is not there. Along with that attribute, you add the remaining attributes and try to find the closure. So you can save the time in next examination. Now I'll check with AE closure. Since it is reflexive, AE closure can find AE. Reflexive rule, AE can determine AE since it is reflexive. Now I'll go to FPs and check from A, can I get any other attribute? From A, I am getting B here. So I'll write B in my list. After A, I have C. So now I have to check from E, can I get any other attribute? From E, I'm getting C. So I'll write C in my list. After E, I have B. Now I have to check for B. B doesn't have any functional dependencies that is determining the other attributes. Next, if we see B and C together, it is determining anything. I have to check. Yes, B and C together, it is determining D. So I will write D in the list. I have got all the attributes that are there in relation. So my candidate key list will be containing A. Next, I have to check for B. Along with A, now I will, along with E, now I will be adding B and check the closure. So now along with E, so for every candidate key, E will be a compulsion. Along with that, I will add an extra attribute and check. So please follow this trick to find the closure method, like check the RHS and then do. It will save you lots of time. So now with B, since it is reflexive, I will write B in my closure. Now with E, I can find C. Sorry. Now I'll check with B. Is there any functional dependency that is present that is determining the other attributes? B alone is not determining any other attributes here. BC together it is determining B. So I have to go and check for next attribute E. E is determining C, that I will write in list. Next I have C. Now if we see B, and since B and C together it is determining D, B and C both I have in the list. So B and C together it is determining D. So D I will write in the list. Now I'll check with D. D has an attribute that is determining A. So A I will be writing in the list. Since I have got all the attributes, I'll write B in my candidates key list. Now along with E, I will add C and check the closure. So if we see every candidate key list, E is compulsion. Everywhere we are getting E. So that to do that, I followed the RHS trick. Now I'll check here, since it is reflexive, C can determine C. Now I'll check C is determining any other attribute. No. I'll check with E. E is determining C. C is already in the list. Now C and E, further it is not determining any other attributes. I have to stop at this point. So since I have got only 2 attributes, C will not be there in my candidate key list. Now along with E, I will add D and check the closure. So I will have, now I'll find DE plus. Since it is reflexive, D can be obtained using D. Now I'll check whether D is determining any attribute. Yes, D is determining A. So I'll write A in the list. Now I'll take E. Is E determining any attribute? Yes, E is determining C. So I will write C in my list. Next A. I'll check with A. Yes, A is determining B. I will write B here. So here if we see, I have got all the attributes in the list that are there in relation. So I'll stop at this point and I will write D in my candidate key list. So these are the candidate keys that I have got: AE, BE, and DE. So my prime attributes will be the attributes that are helping to form the candidate key. So here if we see A comma, B comma, D comma, E will be my prime attributes. So since A is helping in this candidate key, E is helping here, B and D. So these are my prime attributes. Now I have to check for the non-prime attributes. Here if we see only C is not present in the candidate key list, the attributes that are not helping to form the candidate key will be my non-prime attribute. Since C is the only attribute that is present or remaining, I'll write that in my non-prime attributes list. So my prime attributes are A, B, D, E, and my non-prime attributes are C. So this is all about my candidate keys, prime attributes and non-prime attributes. Thank you.